What's up, guys? It's Richie Rich back yet again, and this time I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on why I believe Dragon Ball Z, the animated series, is the greatest anime slash manga of all time. Be sure to check this out. Dragon Ball Z, as they say in the Japanese. I remember when I had I remember having the two PlayStation video games, Dragon Ball Final Bout and Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22 for the PlayStation. So when Dragon Ball Z, because a lot of people, I think the casual Dragon Ball Z fans, they actually think like DBZ debuted like in the late 90s or the early 2000s, which is true. It was shown like in North America and the United Kingdom, the late 90s and early 2000s. A lot of people don't know that the original format series for the Dragon Ball Z, the original premiere of the broadcast on the show started in 1989, just after Dragon Ball, which was in the mid 80s, which Goku flying on the Nimbus. Yeah, that was like early, I think it was 84 to 88, then Z started 1989. It was just when, because I watched the whole like documentary of like, the Funimation dub getting like the tapes from Japan and, having to redub everything, when it finally came over, in this, North America, western side of the world, and that wasn't until the late 90s and that. So you had like kind of a whole decade of Dragon Ball Z basically sitting on the laps, and it was just kind of this like unheard gem for most people. More importantly, when when like I really start going into cartoons, because I was a big, always very big fan of Cartoon Network. Even when I was really young, I was sending like letters and drawings to like try get a job to work for Turner Broadcasting. Because I just like the whole imagination and the creative concept of just making a complete original new character that no one has ever seen. So I used to always send letters to Cartoon Network, and I even I have to like end up checking my attic and see if I can still find letters with from Cartoon Network. You used to send it like crazy, but I was completely addicted to the Cartoon Network shows like Cow and Chicky and Ed, Ed and Eddie, Animaniacs, Two Stupid Dogs. So many Cartoon Network. Great TV shows that were coming out around that time. But what happened is, as I started to grow up, getting into the teens, so like moving into like that last year of elementary slash primary school, and going into secondary high school, it's like you kind of like got like another good one was SWAT Cats. A lot of people probably don't know that. Totally amazing. But like I kind of grew out of it when I got to like just after like 10 or 11. So I remember like the trailer that came for Dragon Ball Z. I think I was just coming back from school, and I remember just seeing the trailer, and it showed the whole bit when Raditz first comes on Earth and he takes Gohan, and he beats up Goku, and he says like, if you want to get the kid, he tells Goku that he needs to like eliminate basically all the Earthlings or something. He needs to prove that he's worthy, like he's a Saiyan. And he teams with God Piccolo to become the world's greatest team. And it was so crazy because at that time, when that trailer first came out, and cartoons that were before, like preceded that, there was never this whole thing of having this kind of long story arc, which was completely unheard of. Majority of cartoons at that time, if they did have a kind of long story arc, like the only ones I could probably mention of is probably like the Spider-Man anime series and the Batman anime series, which were really really great. You know, the Batman anime series is a legendary top. You know, it can be put on par with Dragon Ball Z. But if you look at Batman anime series or Spider-Man anime series, they would have like episodes that continued on like the kind of story of, like, you know, for instance, like in Batman, like Batman anime series, there was the appearance of, you know, Ra's al Ghul, who's like Batman's deadliest enemy. When he appeared the first time and the two-part Demon's Quest, and when he appeared in the second time, Avatar, it continued on the same story of like, oh, this is what happened when Batman last, you know, tangled with Ra's al Ghul. But majority of episodes in Batman anime series and Spider-Man anime series were all standalone episodes. This could be just one story and that's it. There was never really any like major continuation, you know. From the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, there's this kind of great way how they told this story, how it goes on from it, you know, it's so crazy because, you know, if you watch Dragon Ball just before Z, you know, and I had to go back years after and then watch Dragon Ball, then Z, then GT, you know, the step up on like awesomeness, if I can even put that word, from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z is spectacular. And when I say that, is like in Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball was really like, and Dragon Ball is such a terrific show, you know. I think it gets so overshadowed by Dragon Ball Z, you know, because it's kind of basically it's two different shows, but just the largeness of the story in Dragon Ball Z just kind of puts Dragon Ball just beneath it, you know. But from Dragon Ball, which really is this whole kind of adventure, like whole kind of scenario, you know, of like, you know, Goku meeting these characters who would become legendary in the Dragon Ball, you know, the mythos, you know what I mean? Like, you know, meeting Bulma, meeting Yamcha, meeting Master Roshi, meeting Krillin, you know, all these characters, you know, and then like the kind of search for like the magical Dragon Balls, you know, and the sagas with the, you know, I really loved in Dragon Ball like the World Tournament sagas, you know, which really focused on, you know, martial arts, you know, all these different martial arts, kind of basically like inspired from like, you know, Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, you know, and they actually have like a Bruce Lee character in Dragon Ball a series, which is kind of like, you know, a nod to Bruce Lee, you know, which I really loved how the Dragon Ball really focused on like, you know, tournament fights and every different character having their own specific martial arts abilities, you know. But it was really cool, like when I think when you could kind of see signs of what was in store in Dragon Ball Z is when you saw like Goku fighting, you know, Piccolo, you know, King Piccolo, you know, the Namekian. Because when it got to like Goku fighting the King Piccolo thing, it was a bit showed when Kid Goku fought Mercenary Town. You know, that was the first time like a Ki Blast was, you know, like someone like a villain using like their own kind of key wave, you know, to defeat like Goku at that time. You know, with Piccolo, it kind of elevated the series of like you know, not just searching for the Dragon Balls, not just searching for the tournaments. The legit world was on the line. You know, Goku really has to beat Piccolo. Piccolo's just gonna enslave and destroy the world. So it really just put the whole you know, the stakes were raised, you know, and you know Goku did all that kind of training, had to get, you know, come from, you know, the depths, and you know he found a way to beat King Piccolo. Then like, you know, fast forward, he trains with Kami at Kami's Lookout, you know, the introduction to Kami, and you know he ends up fighting Piccolo Junior, you know, in the World Martial Arts Tournament, which is like, you know, the great way just to, you know, end the series, you know. But yeah, as I mentioned that, like you could see in that world tournament, like when adult Goku, you know, fought, you know, adult Teen Goku, whatever you wanna call him, when you fought like Tien and when you fought Piccolo, and even when Krillin fought Piccolo, you could see like kind of this was what was gonna be in store for Dragon Ball Z, but they were gonna put it from like just being withheld to being on Earth to more like intergalactic kind of, you know, battles across the whole galaxy, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, man, like I remember just like going back to that, like you know, the initial episode when like Raditz, you know, first appears and steals Gohan, you know, because it's funny, like and this is what I love so great. You have to really, really commend Toriyama for his writing. Goku for the whole Dragon Ball was complete the main protagonist. I believe if he didn't, he appeared in every single episode in Dragon Ball. You know, he was there in from the first episode where Bulma meets him in Gohan's Grandpa Gohan's house to you know when he marries Chi Chi. You know that he's in. I believe he's in every episode because Dragon Ball's about 150 episodes. You know, Goku has to appear if not in all majority of them. What I love for Z in pretty much first five like first 4 or 5 episodes, Goku is immediately taken out, you know, and it's such a crazy twist because it's not who you think. Like you know, like Raditz end up defeating Goku. I mean, it was Goku who end up putting his life. He basically sacrificed himself, you know, to kill Raditz because him and Piccolo together, even in their full power level state, they were no match for Raditz, you know. So, you know, he had the plan of Goku basically weaken Raditz with the tail because he had no strength in his tail. Weakened him, and he was able to grab him by the back. And Piccolo was able to debut the Nokan Busa. I don't know if I say that in Japanese, but he was able to debut the special beam cannon, which you know at this time when I saw this, like you know, as like I think like early teens, I was like, what the heck is going on? Because I didn't know about like the Dragon Balls. I didn't know like you know when I think like for everyone when Piccolo did that devastating special beam cannon that went through Goku and Raditz, you know, I'm thinking like this guy's gone forever. He's not going back. Then Krillin ends up going to Goku and tells him that okay, you know, wish me back in a year. You know what I mean? Like with the because the what happens is one Raditz you know they about the Dragon Balls. You know, Piccolo ends up telling Raditz about like you know Goku will be fine. They'll get the Dragon Balls a wish about the year, but the other Saiyans heard it. Nappa and Vegeta, and thus they make the plan. You know, they'll be in on Earth in a year. So Goku as his like final wishes, I final like what message to Krillin. He's like, you know, okay, wish me back in a year. You know, I can do some training and come back in a year. But it was so crazy just to see like just imagine like the main character. That's like it really is the equivalent like in the Superman animated series or the Justice League, you know, Justice League series. And like Superman within like maybe the first 3 episodes is already destroyed by like Mongol Doomsday or Darkseid, you know, immediately. What I love with this is where I think Dragon Ball Z was so much the best when the times with Goku was not in the series, you know, it was so important because you know why this was important? All like, you know, Dragon Ball Z fans across the world, what it was great with this is it allowed the other characters to shine, you know. Hence, Gohan, the son of Goku, I believe he was introduced. No, he was introduced in Z. He didn't appear in the Dragon Ball. He was introduced in Z, and what Dragon Ball Z was at least good at for the most part is they showed all of Gohan's kind of evolution from a young kid to like the brave teen to the adult fighting cell to like the you know the high school student slash you know Saiyan man and then the mystic Gohan to the family man with the Videl. So like Z does a very good work of telling Gohan's pretty much whole kind of you know whole pretty much whole kind of like 3/4 of his you know I'm gonna say 3/4 but like you know core of his life story throughout like about 300 episodes, which is really amazing because within the first episode you start with Gohan from day one being captured by Raditz and being put in that capsule corp to then training with Piccolo in the woods to prepare for the battle with Vegeta and Nappa to then going on to Namek, you know, fighting the Ginyu Force, fighting these like Freeza soldiers, to then taking down Cell, and to then you know fighting Majin Buu, then Super Buu, and you know like Gohan wasn't the only one. You had like you know great you know characters like Piccolo for instance. Piccolo became like pretty much one of the main go-to guys in of the Z fighters. You know, if Goku wasn't there or Vegeta was there, pretty much Piccolo was like the third, pretty much the third strongest for like for good chunks in the series. You know, this is like before like Gohan, you know, became Super Saiyan 2, you know, and he was, you know, he was basically the guy to step in for Goku. You know, Piccolo, like in the Namek saga, you know, when he held his own against Frieza, you know, when he against Garlic Jr. And also when he you know, he was fighting 17, you know, to buy time for like the Saiyans to come out the hyperbolic time chamber. Piccolo held his own. Krillin, for instance, you know, a lot of like of these battles against the you know, the Saiyans, and also on Namek, and even in the Garlic Jr. saga, you know, Krillin was there to, you know, give his kind of support, you know. And you know, I'm gonna mention the Sand Prince too, Vegeta. Yeah, we had Tsunami and CNX, and they basically put like Dragon Ball Z was basically, I don't know if you want to call it prime time, but I was always remember it was 5 o'clock. So I remember just finishing school, which was like 3:30. I would usually watch at my nan's house, you know, eat supper, you know, shower, then we watch it back to back, five to 5:30, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. to 5:30, and 5:30 to 6. You know, two new episodes during the week. You know, until they like did amount of it, because it was funny as we were watching it, me and my sibling, they were still dubbing the episodes. So they used to sometimes go back when they had finished dubbing the new episodes. For instance, like when Goku gets to Namek, you know, Goku gets the Ginyu saga. They only showed I think that there's 6 episodes until when Captain Ginyu turns into a frog. So they dubbed that. Then they had to go back. They sometimes would go all the way back, sometimes all the way back to like when they first got back to Namek. And I'd be like, what? There wasn't no warning. We would just get reruns, and then you get some mad trailer on Toonami. I think it's Toonami Tom, and he would say like, well, new episodes of Z are coming out. Make sure you check this out. So sometimes if you never could see the trailers, and keep in mind, this was the time when we didn't have internet or social media. We were checking like magazines, or there was a website I used to use in the back of the day as Dragon Ball Z updates. It was called Dragon Ball Z GT, and also another site was Gogeta.net. So we used to check, me and like the rich team then, which was basically nerds in the library. We used to just take updates in the, online, with like kind of like dial-up connection. We would check out any updates then. So I used to miss like sometimes a lot of like the episodes that came. I think I remember like missing when Goku got like demolished by Freeza. Then I saw the episode obviously when he turned Super Saiyan. So it was one of them things. If you really missed that 5 o'clock slot, you know what I mean, you'd have to wait. Because what they used to do is around summer holidays, all the broadcasts that they did, they would just show this whole marathon on Toonami of like Dragon Ball Z from like 8 a.m. to like about like 8 p.m. in the evening. Usually finish it off with a movie. They used to call it like Destination Friday, which is, yeah, which is, I believe I still got this that I recorded on this, and they would put like the first 5 Dragon Ball Z movies at that time. So I remember like at then times, because I had my DVD player, I used to record them a lot. Just set the recorder and just leave it for like the whole day watching the marathon. Then I would go back and watch these episodes, and I missed like so much, and I was able to catch up. But yeah, man, like as what have I said? Dragon Ball Z just did a great job of, I think when people want to always talk about Z, they always use the like, the words that always comes up is like epic, or like a big deal, like big spirit bombs, Kamehameha waves, blowing up planets. It's just a major big deal, and I think that it's not ever been seen in not even anime, but not even cartoon, of this kind of like colossal kind of universe struggle to control the galaxy, and it's like this like Sand who came from Earth, this son who came from planet Vegeta. Everyone's trying to like destroy Goku. That's the pretty much. He even says it like later on. That's why he didn't want to come back in the end of the Cell Saga, because he kept on saying like the androids, Freeza, all these enemies had a bone basically to kill. The androids were made just to specific, just to with the main chip to destroy Goku. So it's just such a great film. Broly, for instance, yeah, when he appears in the movies, he ends up just having the main event there on Goku. But it was really nice within the series, because the movies did focus more on, like, Goku always being the one to save the day. But I love with the series there was major gaps where Goku wasn't in the series. The main early one was when he's destroyed by Piccolo. He doesn't come back till Vegeta and Nappa come back on Earth, and then when he's after the battle with Vegeta, he's out of commission until Namek. When he switches bodies with Ginyu, he's in the rejuvenation chamber. When they believe he's gone, Planet Namek explodes. He's on Planet Yardrat training. He's gone for the whole entire Garlic Junior saga. And then even when he has the heart virus in there's another one, he has the heart virus, as soon as the android comes, he's out of the picture again. Hyperbolic time chamber, even though it's a day stretched out, he's out again. And then, like, eventually when there's so many times, even the end of the Cell Saga, he decides not to come back, he's out again. The time Vegeta knocks him out, he's out. Then he goes back to the Supreme Kai's place after his day on Earth is gone. He's out. You know what I mean? So there's so many times in the series that the Z fighters have to kind of work together to fend for themselves. Even if it's just kind of buying time until Goku comes. Which I love, because it's nice of just not always having. Goku's such a great balanced character. He's like basically the ultimate martial artist. Because he's been training like that as a kid. But it was really nice to kind of see these other characters kind of blossom up and become known. It was nice knowing what like a Final Flash looked like, or a Masenko from Gohan, or a Light Grenade from Piccolo, or Destructo Disc from Krillin. you know Whereas, like, I felt this is one of the reasons a lot of people have their like gripes, and like, why they kind of hate GT. My main mold with GT is they called it Dragon Ball GT time, Dragon Ball Goku time. Yeah, I just really got annoyed with the emphasis on Goku. When Goku in that series, like, if I could rewrite GT again, Goku in GT should have been like 50 or 60, and that the torch should have just been passed. If it was gonna be Oob, or it was gonna be Goten, Trunks, and that, the torch should have been passed, and they should have gave it to someone else for this series to focus on, so that would make it more fresh. It's like if in WWF, if it was just, I know it happened, but if it was just The Rock, even now, if The Rock was still in WWF and he was still the guy, it had to come a time when John Cena would take over. It's like, if you want that kind of show to have like longevity, you have to be able to kind of make a new character take over the mantle. That's what Z was able to do. But yeah, man, like, one thing you can say with Z, even forget about the Boo Saga. It's just the legacy is left. Even like for them to now make the Dragon Ball Z Super series, because there must be so many DBZ fanboys such as myself who always wanted to see like a better conclusion of like what happened in the Boo arc, or just wanted to see more Dragon Ball Z, because there's so much stories you can tell with Z, man. The options are endless. When you're dealing with these characters and you've got this kind of whole galaxy, you can do time travel, you can talk about aliens, you can talk about like magic. There's so many different kind of creations you can make. Even like watching some episodes of Super, I really love what they're doing with it. And I just hope they continue it. And it's just like, the way it's just impacted pop culture, with like the the merchandises, like when I like, I even have a friend who he would agree on this as well. I pretty much got into like fitness. Like I was, I still am like kind of in my heart. Still, I'm a big like pro wrestling like fan. So I've always had like a big heart because I was watching. It's funny. I was watching like WWF at its peak. I was watching that and Dragon Ball Z side by side. Monday Night Raw used to play at 9 o'clock over here, so we watched that and watched SmackDown the next day. So we were watching this at the same time. And when you're seeing these like big dudes with like muscles over muscles and these perfect aesthetic physiques, as soon as I had the chance to like get in the weights room and start making make the jumping, all these like sports activities, I always used to think like, okay man, I want to have like this kind of physique like Vegeta, I want to be like Goku, you know what I mean? So even like I picked up like martial arts for a while because I really was really such a fanboy of Dragon Ball Z, so it helped me on the fitness side. And I was always when the show really was like in this like peak powers, yeah, no, I actually never told this. During like when it was that time it was shown like in that early 2000s, so this is the Funimation dub when it was shown, I was drawing a lot of the DBZ pictures, like this was really got me into things. I've always been like an artistic dude, I've been drawing since like age of 3 and 4, but when I was drawing pictures before, it was always pretty much like Looney Tunes, Batman. I always used to draw Batman, When DBZ hit, I really started to focus more on drawing anime characters, and I was actually in the library. This was my first job ever. I was actually drawing Dragon Ball Z pictures and selling them to other people, to like DBZ fans in the library. It was just like because I was drawing them like really digital. I was so trash at the start, but I just kept on practicing. Really putting my work in it. I sometimes used to spend days on just drawing like Goku's, the angelic Super Saiyan 3 hair, or drawing Vegeta's eyebrows. So I remember like when I got it, I actually had a folder of like the actual image and my drawing, and people wouldn't believe I draw it, then I'll say, okay, get a table, I'll show you how I draw like Goku's hair, and people would buy it, and I really wish like I had like a camera phone at that time, man, because like I actually had a folder that I remember I lost one time when I was traveling, which really sucks, and I had a lot of my rare Dragon Ball Z pictures, some I was able to save but some I wasn't, but I was drawing them like so much, and it was really a nice hobby, man, because when I was really in school, because that's what I'm saying. I think it's a different thing now because you can kind of love like an anime like Naruto or like One Piece, and you wouldn't get like shunned off or bullied and that because I was in the library. Talking about Dragon Ball Z, reading Dragon Ball Z, magazines, drawing Dragon Ball Z's. Everyone basically said Rich is a nerd. You know what I mean? And it just made me just a total outcast. But I look at it today, the best thing is Richie Rich never sold out. Me loving Dragon Ball Z does not affect anybody. You know what I mean? It's not like gonna change the balance of the solar system because I love anime. And I understood that then, but I was probably too young to be kind of like brave to stand up to like the bullies and that. So I just used to just be like, well, if they don't like me for that, I'll just keep quiet and just read it anyway, and it really me like reading these mangas, because I was reading the mangas and I was also reading these Dragon Ball Z magazine updates, it also just gave me kind of ideas on how to create original characters or original ideas, not one that, something that no one's ever seen before, because the idea of Dragon Ball Z, only a crazy person could make that, like, I mean, I'm gonna make a character who can fly and do energy waves, like some of you are like, what are you talking about, but sometimes you have to be crazy to do these kind of things, no sane person can do that, so it was really nice, and that's one of the reasons which influenced me for my like my brand banner name, Rich Man Z, which I actually drew myself, like I was inspired by the Dragon Ball Z because I've always known what it means to me. I actually got a tattoo of the Shenron. Don't know if you can actually see it. Maybe that's just the top of it. But yeah, no, I mean the show inspired me so much. I really wanted my main brand, like Rich Man's always been my nickname. I definitely wanted the Z, just to basically show and clarify, like, show and just present like my major admiration for like the most fantastic show that I've ever seen. Yeah, but I mean, like, would I say it's the best anime? For me, it's funny, because some people say it's the best anime. I've honestly put Dragon Ball Z, for me at least, as the best anime show I've ever seen. And I know some people are gonna call me crazy in that, because there are like a lot of totally totally great animes. Batman the animated series is a top one, like really great. Cowboy Bebop, I love that show. Samurai Jack is such a terrific show. Even the Superman the animated series. I've got like a whole stacks of these on my HDD. But I just feel like with Dragon Ball Z, I just feel like the impact of that show and the legacy of what they're doing for that show, and especially like what it helped me, because that's the show that basically helped me get out of school. What I mean? Like when they, like, them days when I really didn't want to be in school, what was always that kind of lightning, like, that kind of like saving grace was, oh, you know what, when I finish maths at like 3:30, I can go home with Dragon Ball Z. So it made me want to kind of like, okay, let me get through all this trash in mathematics. I can get on watch Dragon Ball Z. I can possibly play like the Budokai series. I can draw more pictures. With Dragon Ball Z, just the whole story, that epic story, and the evolution of characters from like Vegeta to Piccolo. Because you gotta remember, in Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta and Piccolo both start off as bad guys. And imagine how they changed their characters so much that they now fighting alongside Goku when they were originally enemies of Goku, and they're able to do that with a span of 300 episodes. No, I don't think it's unheard of any series. Cowboy Bebop, for instance, that's probably my second greatest anime, but it's only 26 episodes. And with Cowboy Bebop, because it's more of an adult teen show. Like, you gotta be 18 years old, or to really watch that or possibly understand that. A lot of, like, if you're trying to be like, young, if you're younger than that and you're trying to watch Cowboy Bebop, most likely you won't get it. I felt like and again, it's only 26 episodes, so you have to really pay attention to the fine detail in that series. With Dragon Ball Z, it also has that kind of universal appeal that, I was watching it when I was like 10, 11, and then like I can return back in my 20s and still watch the show now and still enjoy it as I was watching it, in them early teens years, so yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on Dragon Ball Z, which I have said, and if I had a megaphone, I would shout saying this is the greatest anime, not of today, but of all time. Let me know your thoughts on Dragon Ball Z series. Do you think it's overrated? Because I get a lot of people, I watch a lot of people's videos, they'll say like, Dragon Ball Z isn't as good as it is, like Bleach is better, Naruto is better, like, which is true. Everyone's entitled to opinion. I'm always been kind of a numbers guy. When people say Michael Jackson is the best entertainer who's ever lived, you've got a whole number system that can back it. I've always kind of believed the same thing with Dragon Ball Z. There's a pretty much big kind of mass kind of numbers system, like the numbers don't lie, that Dragon Ball Z is the best animated series. But let me know what your like greatest animes. What was your best character in the series? Mine is Vegeta. What was the best story arc? The Sand Saga, the Freeza Saga, Cell Saga, the Boost Saga. So yes, man. Stay tuned for more upcoming vids such as this. And especially when we're talking about Dragon Ball Z, when the planets align once more again, Richie Rich will be back yet again. Peace to fingers.
手のひらを握った時